Today I want to show you a very tricky trap against the two knights defense. So let's get that on the board. So these are the opening moves of the two knights defense. After this it's officially the two knights defense. And here we're going to play d4. Now this just is one of the ways to play this. And the main move here is to take. In this position we're actually not going to play the main move. We're going to play e5, attacking the knight. Notice the pawn is defended, so they can't take it. So they're going here to attack that pawn and trying to win it. We're not going to care, and we are going to actually play an unexpected move here. They're probably not going to expect this, which is bishop takes f7 jack, which just hangs our bishop basically, but it's with a reason. We can follow this up with knight g5 jack. Notice our knight is defended, so they can't take it with the queen unless they want to lose their queen, so they're not going to do that. So they're just going to move their king back and say, okay, our king is safe now. But our attack is only just starting. We are now going to play queen f3, and we are just threatening checkmate here. Now it looks like there's a couple of ways black can prevent this checkmate. One of the moves that black plays a lot here, but actually loses on the spot, is just taking this pawn, saying, okay, I'm attacking the queen and I'm defending checkmate, so what can go wrong? But instead of going for the immediate checkmate, we have this in-between move, queen d5 check. And notice the king now can't move anywhere, and the only thing they can do is block with that knight that just placed there, and we can simply take it and it's checkmate. So going back, they can't take here, and it's the exact same if they take with this knight. Let me show you. You can just go for this jack. Now they have to block with that knight, and it's checkmate. So this pawn can be taken. Now another thing you might think, okay, what if they try to defend the checkmate with the queen, like this? But it also doesn't work, and it's for a similar reason. If we go for this check now, obviously if they block with the queen there, then it's checkmate, just like we saw with the knights. But they have another move here, which is to block with the queen here. But our knight is positioned very well in this case, so we can just take the queen, and yeah, now we won a queen, and the rest of the game should be easy from this point forward. So all those moves don't work. So how can they actually prevent this checkmate? Well, notice that this bishop is actually taking away an escape square for the king. So the best move here for black is to go for this check, creating an escape square in the case of queen d5 check, and also making us do something about the check on our king. Now in this case we are gonna play c3, and this is again a very tricky position for black, because it looks like now, okay, I've created an escape square, let's just move my bishop somewhere. But unfortunately after this, yeah, even though they have this square to move now, it is still checkmate here. So they can't save their bishop in this position. But now they might think, okay, I have that escape square, so let's just take the pawn now with the knight, because this trick doesn't work anymore, because the king cannot move here. And now I don't have this checkmate because the knight is defending. And everything looks alright here for black, but unfortunately for him, we can go for this check now. Making use of the pin, so if they take the knight we can win the queen, and after they move we can win the rook. And if they don't take the knight, so let's say they move the king here, we can just take the queen with our knight. So we're winning the queen in this position. So again, going all the way back, the move they have to play here, and it's already like yeah, they're walking on a thin line. They have to play really precisely to prevent all our traps. But the only move or the best move to prevent the checkmate here is to go for this knight. But now we're still gonna play this check. But the difference is that after the king moves, we now don't have this check, because they can just take our knight, and notice that if we take the queen, they can just take back with their knight, because they have their knight there. But we're still gonna go for the check, and after the king moves, we're just gonna pretend like it's a normal game, and we're just gonna castle. But we're still not out of tricks, and black might think, okay, I'm alright here, I'm just gonna save my bishop now and I'm okay. But actually this is still not over, because we are gonna play f4 here. attacking that knight. And notice that that knight is still defending from a checkmate. So if that knight were to, let's say, move to save itself, we can just go for this checkmate. So, okay, what can they do? Well, they can try to take this knight, for example. But now we can take here with check. And what they actually have to do here is block with the bishop and just give up a bishop. And now we're just up material. So that's already they've fallen for our trap. But what some people might think is, okay, I'm not gonna do that. So let's just try to move the king, sorry. But here we can actually go for this checkmate. So coming back, they can't take the knight here. But they also can't move this knight because of that checkmate. So what do? Well, the only move for black here to actually stay in the game, and in my experience, almost no one finds this, is to actually go for knight f3 check. Just giving up the knight like this. And yeah, it looks really odd, but yeah, it's the only move to save the game. We can just take back with the rook. And it's still not over here. So again, we trap after trap after trap. They need to be really precise. The reason it's not over is because we're still threatening checkmate. Notice this knight is now gone here, so they need to do something about this. So still, like, they can try to take this knight, say, okay, no, this isn't checkmate. But after we take here, it does lead to forced mate. The best move actually here is to play queen f6. We can just take and it will be checkmate in a few moves. And if you can't find it, you're up a queen, so that's all right as well. But what black might try in this position is to just move that king here. And notice that this is no longer checkmate because the king can run. But we can actually start with this check. Now the king is forced to go here because these files are occupied by our queen and rook. And here we're gonna play a quiet move, rook f5, basically threatening, let's see, oh, checkmates, I don't know actually, let's see what the engine says. Yeah, checkmate with the rook, of course. I was thinking with the queen. So that's what we're threatening. So they can prevent that by going queen g8. And now our bishop can come in, and yeah, you can basically see it must be checkmate somehow. We have so many pieces here. They have to block with the knight. We can take with the queen. They have to move their king here, and yeah, now it's just checkmate in one. We can actually checkmate in 3 different ways. So going all the way back again, they can't take our knight here. Because you saw what happened, it will be checkmate. So the only move to stay in the game here for black is to play queen e8, preventing that checkmate. And now black is finally out of trouble. But yeah, we're still slightly ahead according to the engine. And yeah, it's still easier to play for white because his king is still in the center. It's very weak. And yeah, so even if they don't fall for all these traps, you still have a very nice game. So yeah, it's a really fun way to play in my opinion, and like I said, usually it doesn't even get this far. They will fall for one of the traps along the line, and you will have a completely winning position. So yeah, give it a try, and let me know if you trap some opponents with this one. I'm curious, so I'd like to hear in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.